So good to be back. It's like you blink your eyes and all-season programs through, training camps through, and here we are, week one. Uh, it's like to be excited about. Training camp was probably the most competitive since I've been here, going into year three, which is a positive to the personnel staff and the guys that we're bringing in. Coaches coaching their butts off, players competing at a high level, and obviously there was a lot of tough decisions that were made in order to get down to the 53-man roster, as well as the practice squad, really the 16, 17 guys that we do have there. We're excited about this group, excited about the preparation going into the week, and excited to get ready to go on the road and see if we can find a way to get it done.
Matt, with Kene, specifically with the kickoff return spot, why was he not a fit for this new format that you're in?
I wouldn't say necessarily he wasn't a fit for the new kickoff return scheme. It was more of a matter of credit to Myles Gaskin and what he did during the preseason, showing himself as truly a complete three-down back, versatile football player, while also being able to add from a special teams role as well. So it's more so in line kind of what Myles Gaskin did on an offensive level more so than what Kene did not do in terms of not being a true fit for the new kickoff return rules.
And is Myles your kick returner, or are you still
Right now we're going into it. Right now we have Ty Chandler. Obviously Ty did it last year when Kene was out for just a little segment of time with the injury that he had. So we had Ty back there. We've been working with Brandon Powell back there as well. So those are kind of the two guys that we're going into it with.
What are you more anxious to see play out, covering those kickoffs or scheming a way to beat the coverage?
That's a great question. I think it is going to be a week-to-week basis, and that's kind of what the exciting thing is about the new kickoff return rule is that you're probably never going to see the same exact thing that you saw the week before. More so, you probably get a little bit more excited in terms of, I think it's going to be more difficult to cover the kicks than it is to return them, just because how the rules are set up. You're in a stagnant position. You don't get to move until the ball either A, hits the ground, or B, is caught by the returner. And so as a result, you look at the old kickoff rule, more times than not when the ball was caught at the goal line, guys are running at 20 miles per hour, the ball gets caught, and they're probably at the 25, 28-yard line. Now you're pushing those guys back in a stagnant position at the 40 and asking them to cover and find a way to get it inside the 30. More so really the kind of inside the 25 is now your new inside the 20. And so there's a lot of different schematics that come into play from a KOR standpoint. And for us, it's been just a big emphasis on block destruction. How do you defeat blocks? It's almost kind of like a 9-on-7 in a way, to where it's like, how do we want to handle these run fits? Because now you kind of eliminate the levels of defense that you did have in the old kickoff rule, when you had fast guys next to slow guys, so they're able to play off one another. Now you really only have one line of defense, and so you have to be great in terms of how you fit these certain schemes that you're going to end up seeing.
How do you kind of weigh wanting to be creative with also still figuring out the fundamentals of the play?
Yeah, I think you're always going to rely on the fundamentals at the end of the day, Matt, because when you build it the right way, you build a good foundation of techniques and fundamentals, it really allows you to open up the plethora of creativity that you can really enhance and really provide to your players, so long as they understand really the foundation of it, the base of it, of what we're truly trying to accomplish. We call it the bread and butter, like what is going to be our bread and butter, and how can we find a way to build off of that, so it almost in a way looks the same to the opponent, but it's something different. And that's kind of what our sweet spot is, and how we try to teach it.
Ty has experience doing it, but what makes him the best fit for?
I would probably say it's contact balance. If you kind of look at what the preseason looked like, guys are going to need to be able to break tackles. There's going to be times where you're going to get free hitters through, and let's be honest, the runners are taking a good little bit of a pounding. So you want to make sure you got somebody back there who's just a little bit more sturdy, who can handle, possibly getting hit up top and down low at the same time. So you look for a guy who's got good vision, who's got good contact balance, who can press it one way, get it in and get it out. But also they got to be able to attack the cover team fearlessly, vertically. And he has that. He's got a knack for it. He's got great contact balance, great vision, and you know, he's a running back, just a natural runner.
Do you think it's still an open question whether there'll be a lot more returns in the league this year?
I do, Kevin. I do think that it's still kind of up in the air as you kind of look at what the numbers look like from the preseason. You know, it's going to be what's the risk? How are you weighing the risk versus the reward of it? You know, is it do you risk trying to hit a squib ball, knuckle ball, whatever you have it, so that you can get the good result of the touchback, to where it lands in the landing zone, rolls into the end zone, they take a knee, and now it's at the 20-yard line. But with that also comes where, you know, that ball doesn't land in the landing zone, and now the ball goes out to the 40. And, you know, you're going to be having a nice little conversation with the head coach about that. And so you have to weigh, you know, the risk versus the reward, the personnel, who's the returner back there, how good do you feel about the cover team that you have out there versus their blockers? You know, does your scheme match up good versus their scheme? So it's a lot of factors that come into play in terms of, you know, do you want to put it in play or do you want to kind of kick it out?
Yeah, because during the preseason, the percentage of balls into the end zone was going up each week, is what it sounded like. And I don't know if that's what to take from preseason.
Yeah, I think that's just more so tail end. You know, you're really trying to save guys from injury going to the last preseason game. You know, you've seen enough reps in games 1 and 2 that you feel good about what you got out there, the personnel, the schematics. And so, you know, a lot of times those preseason 3 games can be, you know, you're only playing, but, you know, let's call it 14 guys from a special team standpoint who are also playing the offense and defense. So those guys are winded, so you're trying to save them a little bit.
You said before the preseason, you thought it was going to be a game that decided, or a part of the game that decided games in the regular season.
For sure. I do still think that within the first, let's call it 3 weeks, I do see this play playing a major role in, you know, the wins and losses. When you start talking about field position battle, you know, how much does that play, especially when you might have a, you know, stagnant offense, stagnant defense, or, you know, offense and defense kind of balancing out to where it's a stalemate going on, and you're really trying to play that field position battle, and all it takes is just one explosive return or one big play from a kickoff standpoint. Maybe you get a holding call. Now it turns into a backed up situation. You know, defense gets a stop, 3 and out, ball gets punted to the 50, big return, next thing you know, so forth and so forth. So I do still think that the play could play a huge role in wins and losses in the first couple of weeks, while everybody's still trying to figure it out.
And you can take Kevin out of it, but overall, like NFL head coaches, do you, just knowing them like you do and having played in the league and now assistant coaching, like, do you think they have the stomach for that uncertainty?
Some do and some don't. Some do and some don't. You know, there's coaches out here who is as aggressive as ever. You know, there's also a mindset that comes along with it in terms of your players who are playing the game. You know, guys want to be a part of this play. They want to be a part of the action. And so, you know, if you're just a team kicking it out every single time, you know, that kind of doesn't build the right mindset, you know, from a team standpoint. And so, you know, you kind of got to take that into factor too. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out, you know, in terms of who's willing to risk it, who has the stomach for it, and who doesn't.
Yeah, how does not having Najee Thompson affect that, the coverage unit?
Yeah, obviously Najee was a huge part of what we did last year. You know, I would consider him a top-tier gunner in this league, and all of his peers would agree on that. And so it's going to be big shoes to fill in terms of, you know, that gunner position, really all being a four-core player that he was, but specifically at the gunner position. And, you know, we've been working a lot of guys at that, you know, that we feel good about who's going to be out there, you know, whether it's by committee or if it's 2 guys only. But we do have, you know, some guys in this building that's done it at an elite level that we feel good about. But it's definitely gonna miss Najee too. You know, he just had surgery last week, so rest up. You know, can't wait to get him back.
Flo was talking about McLeather and the impact he's made on defense. Where do you see him fitting in?
Yeah, I think Nudie is coming along right where we want him to. He's got a good combo of good speed and good power. He's got instincts, which you can see show up a lot from a defensive standpoint. And, you know, what I love most about, call him Nudie, what I love most about Nudie is just his fearlessness. It's almost as if, you know, even when he's covering Justin Jefferson. He doesn't even realize that, it's an 18 jersey. All he sees is a purple jersey out there, and you really appreciate that about him. Just his fearlessness. He's really edgy, plays with passion. He's really attentive in the meeting rooms, and we're going to continue to develop him and watch him really groom and grow as we kind of work out throughout the season. But he's going to be a four-court guy for us and a huge impact this year.
When it came to Ryan Wright winning the job, I guess what did you see from him in training camp that convinced you to stay that direction?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is that when the bright lights came on and we inserted him into the lineup, it was good directional punts. His process off the field was really, really good. His mindset is in the right place. He's being attentive to the details. He's really focused and being intentional every single day on how he prepares, what he's working on. And I think it was just more so taking the next step of being a professional, understanding yourself, true self-evaluation, understanding what works for me, what doesn't, how do I need to prepare my body, how do I need to prepare week in and week out. And it was good to see him take those steps. And at the end of the day, this guy thrives in competitive atmospheres. But I think the biggest thing that I wanted to see was, okay, now that you've won the job, can you continue to have that competitive edge to you when you aren't competing against someone else and it's just you in this building? And so, throughout now, since Seth has left now, he has continued to do that and has shown that consistency. So that's that kind of growth and development that we've been looking for out of Mr. Wright.
Do you have a nickname for your kicker yet?
That's so funny. Mr. Wright actually literally just asked that like last week in terms of that, and we're still working through it. Still working through that. Y'all got any suggestions?
Well, the Giants have a guy named the Scottish Hammer.
Yeah, Scottish Hammer.
I don't know, can you top the Scottish
I
Hammer?
know, that's a tough one. Will is just from Tuscaloosa, Alabama, so I gotta figure something.
Tougher to name, you just stuff
Yeah.
just come to you and something.
Yeah, sometimes it just comes, so we gotta figure that out. By the next presser, I have something for y'all. I have something for y'all, I promise. Cool. Appreciate y'all.